56 days to go, and Kamala Harris is in command. She was from the first instant of the debate when she surprised and shocked Donald Trump, crossing the floor, shaking his hand, returning to the podium, and putting on the show of a lifetime. This is the warning. Wow is not the word to describe the best debate performance by any presidential candidate in the history of the television era, which goes all the way back to 1960. Just extraordinary. Over and over again, Donald Trump took the bait. The vice president had him chasing his tail over and over again, leading up to one of the most remarkable moments in the history of presidential debates.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Now, you can look back at time and look at those great exchanges and lines, but whatever your favorite is, how can it possibly eclipse Donald Trump screaming into the empty studio? They're eating dogs. They're eating dogs. They're eating dogs. Truly incredible. Now, understanding how that happened requires backing up a bit to the landing of Trump Force One, because what disembarked is one of the most extraordinary assemblages of scumbags, a creature cantina of political ne'er-do-wells, the likes of which has never ever been assembled to escort a presidential nominee into the debate. You have the indicted Boris Epshteyn, who previously pled guilty for groping women. You have Corey Lewandowski, another sexual assaulter. You have Jason Miller, who drugged a stripper with abortion drugs so he wouldn't knock her up. Wow. And the conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer, which explains why Trump, by the middle of the debate, was screaming about, but they're eating dogs. Incredible doesn't begin to describe it. Donald Trump is tweeting out these cat memes suggesting that wild hordes of Haitian immigrants are kidnapping and eating pets, like he did in front of one of the largest political audiences in American history tonight when he declares they're eating dogs, none of which is true. Over and over again, Kamala Harris would lay the trap and Trump would respond, whether it's Nancy Pelosi, whether it's the crowd sizes. He can't help himself. He is a nut job without parallel, and the amazing thing to watch as he takes the bait over and over and over again is the vice president's nonverbal communication. Her looks, the greatest reaction looks in the history of presidential debates. Silent rebuttals that made him look crazy. She demolished him on Afghanistan. She provoked him by making the point that he's a disgrace. Look at his body language. Look at his shoulders slumped. She called him out for being a disgrace, for being an embarrassment. She talked about the military leaders who think he's a disgrace. Over and over again, she hammered him about America's veterans. Over and over again, she talked about the future with optimism. She reached out to the middle of the electorate. She said she would be president for all of the people, all the while letting Donald Trump completely unravel psychologically. It was an extraordinary debate performance, one for the ages. What the vice president showed is she fits perfectly behind the Resolute desk. What a performance, and what an unmasking. Over and over again tonight, Donald Trump was incoherent, angry, had no idea what he was talking about. His facts were nonsense points. Donald Trump was the worst president in American history, and the vice president made that point over and over again on the economy, on national security, on the Middle East, on the criminals who attacked the Capitol. And look at the shame in Trump's slumped shoulders, in his sunken appearance. God, he looks like such a schlub. Tonight, Kamala Harris did to Donald Trump what Donald Trump did to Joe Biden about 55 days ago. Except the difference is there's no possible way for the Republicans to replace Trump. They're going down with the MAGA ship. They have defended and apologized for this insanity. And they have advanced this ludicrousness that somehow Kamala Harris is not ready to be president, that she won't be able to answer the questions. She certainly seemed coherent tonight, but someone else did it. His name was Donald Trump. He's running with a weirdo named J.D. Vance. And tonight, what the American people saw by the tens of millions was a display of madness, complete and total madness, psychological unraveling.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi.
President Trump, your
Well,
response?
first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that.
This guy shouldn't be anywhere near the nuclear weapons codes, right? That much is evident. He's our national shroom pilot, hallucinating, trying to cut the fuel to the engines in the middle of the flight. We have a vote. Let's use it. Let's make the nonsense stop. It may be confusing to a lot of the national media and a lot of the pontificators over at CNN what change means, what moving forward means, how it can be that the incumbent vice president can be an authentic, incredible change messenger. But you saw the reality tonight. The only way past this rancid era is by turning the page on Donald Trump. It's time to do that. Kamala Harris made the case tonight in brilliant fashion.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward.
Wow doesn't begin to describe it. Nobody, not Bill Clinton, not John Kennedy, not Ronald Reagan, not Barack Obama, nobody has ever had a better debate performance. Nobody has ever unraveled an opponent quite like that. Wow doesn't begin to describe it. With 56 days to go, the vice president is in command of the race. She has the momentum, and tonight she destroyed Donald Trump. He'll be crying and he'll be raging. The tweets to come over the course of this night through the morning will be as nuts as anything that we've ever seen, as what happens sinks in and the magnitude of the debate disaster takes hold. Donald Trump has entered the final curve of his career. The end stage of the MAGA fascist era is upon us. Good. President Kamala Harris. It sounds good. And tonight, the American people got a glimpse for the first time in a long time of better. And they also saw for the first time ever somebody dress down Trump and hold him to account for his insanity, his lies, his bluster, his bloviating.
Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Tonight, Kamala Harris stood up and she spoke up for the American way of life. And she said to the American people, including all the independents, including all the Republicans, that I'll be your president too, that we have something in common, a great democratic heritage and a belief in freedom. Donald Trump was completely crazy when he talked about abortion tonight. It's important to recognize nonsense talk when you hear it. And this is nonsense talk.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
It's gibberish, insane gibberish, and it's time to end it. Tonight, the vice president put on a performance for the ages. She won this debate decisively. She humiliated Donald Trump tonight, who once again showed he's not fit for any level of public service and any type of public trust. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning, and I invite you to subscribe on our Substack, on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Welcome to the community.